For years, a massive, bleeding-edge chunk of the professional creative community has felt entirely orphaned by Apple's desktop lineup. If you wanted absolute, uncompromised power, you were forced into a modular setup, buying a Mac Studio, hunting down a matching high-end monitor, managing a rat's nest of heavy Thunderbolt cables, and dealing with a cluttered desk footprint that felt more like a server room than a clean creator studio. But everything we thought we knew about Apple's hardware roadmap has just been shattered. Cupertino is quietly preparing to resurrect the ultimate, most requested all-in-one machine in Apple history, the brand-new, completely redesigned 2026 Apple iMac Pro. And if the latest internal supply chain leaks, engineering whispers, and manufacturing blueprints are correct, this machine isn't just a minor spec bump. It is a terrifyingly powerful, jaw-dropping creative workstation designed to completely swallow the high-end desktop market whole. If you have been waiting for the ultimate Apple desktop, or if you are trying to decide whether to buy a Mac Studio right now, stop everything you are doing, clear your mind, and listen closely, because what Apple is dropping in 2026 changes the entire game. To understand why this specific machine has everyone inside the tech industry losing their minds, we have to look back at why the original iMac Pro was killed off in the first place. When Apple discontinued the dark space gray behemoth years ago, they told us the modular Mac Studio and the Pro Display XDR were the future. They thought professionals wanted to mix and match components. But they were wrong. Creators, Hollywood colorists, high-end music producers, 3D render artists, and elite developers didn't want modular complexity. They wanted the sheer, clean elegance of a massive, single-pane glass display married to raw, unthrottled silicon power without a single visible wire. They wanted an all-in-one powerhouse that didn't compromise on thermal limits or performance metrics. Apple heard that feedback loud and clear, and they spent years engineering a machine that solves every single limitation of the past. The 2026 iMac Pro is not just an oversized version of the colorful 24-inch consumer iMac sitting in retail stores. This is an entirely different beast built from the ground up for people whose livelihoods depend on rendering complex 8K timelines, training local artificial intelligence models, and compiling millions of lines of code in seconds. Let's talk about the visual centerpiece of this machine, because Apple is completely rewriting the rules of desktop displays. For years, professionals felt boxed in by the old 27-inch ceiling. It was a great screen for its time, but modern workflows demand massive screen real estate. You need space for multi-track audio timelines, massive node graphs in DaVinci Resolve, complex 3D viewports in Blender or Cinema 4D, and chat windows, monitoring tools, and reference imagery all pinned on a single canvas without feeling cramped. That is why Apple has engineered a breathtaking, ultra-thin bezel, massive 32-inch panel for the 2026 iMac Pro. Yes, you heard that right, 32 inches of pure, unadulterated visual real estate packed into an all-in-one form factor. But size is only half the story. Apple is utilizing advanced mini-LED backlighting technology paired with promotion, bringing adaptive refresh rates up to 120 Hz directly to the desktop. Think about that for a second. Scrolling through code, scrubbing through high framerate video footage, and working with fluid UI animations on a 32-inch 120 Hz mini-LED display with extreme dynamic range is going to look so buttery smooth that going back to a standard 60 Hz monitor will feel physically painful. The peak brightness levels on this panel are rumored to hit insane thresholds, allowing true reference-grade HDR grading right out of the box without needing an external $30,000 mastering monitor. And for those who demand absolute glare-free precision under harsh studio lighting, Apple is heavily leaning toward offering a nanotexture glass option right on the production line, just like they do with the Pro Display XDR. Underneath the gorgeous glass panel is where things transition from impressive to downright terrifying. The original iMac Pro struggled with thermal throttling because fitting high-end workstation silicon into a slim chassis was a thermodynamic nightmare. But silicon architecture has evolved light years ahead. The 2026 iMac Pro is rumored to house Apple's next-generation M5 Max chipsets, with whispers of potential M5 Ultra configurations or custom high-tier silicon configurations designed specifically to pull maximum performance out of a desktop chassis. Let's break down what an M5 Max-powered all-in-one actually means for your daily workflow. We are looking at a monstrous core architecture featuring a world-class CPU core layout paired with heavily accelerated neural engines built directly into every single GPU core. What does that translate to in the real world? It means local artificial intelligence processing, large language model prompt execution, and real-time generative upscaling happen locally on your machine at speeds that make previous generation laptops look like toys. If you are running complex machine learning algorithms, processing massive photographic libraries in Lightroom, or rendering heavy 3D scenes in Max and Redshift, the M5 Max inside this thermal enclosure will rip through workloads without breaking a sweat. Because the iMac Pro has a larger physical footprint than a laptop, Apple's engineering team has implemented an advanced thermal architecture featuring custom-tuned, ultra-quiet fans and a massive vapor chamber system. This means the machine can sustain peak, maximum load performance indefinitely. No throttling, no sudden fan spikes that sound like a jet engine taking off, and zero performance degradation during a 24-hour render queue. Let's address the elephant in the room: memory and storage configurations. For years, professional creators slammed Apple for stingy base memory configurations and unified memory bottlenecks. Apple knows that a true pro machine cannot compromise on bandwidth or capacity. The 2026 iMac Pro is expected to start with massive baseline unified memory tiers, scaling up to extreme amounts of high-bandwidth memory that allow you to load massive 8K RAW video codecs directly into memory without dropping a single frame. The unified memory architecture means that GPU and CPU share a single pool of ultra-fast data pools, eliminating the traditional latency bottlenecks found in traditional PC desktop setups where data has to hop back and forth across a motherboard between system RAM and dedicated graphics VRAM. Coupled with SSD read and write speeds reaching up to 15 GB per second, file transfers, project loading times, and scratch disk operations happen instantaneously. You can load a massive project file containing thousands of assets in the time it takes to blink, entirely eliminating the waiting game that plagues modern content creation. Connectivity is another area where Apple is throwing open the doors for professional studios. If you operate a high-end editing suite, your desk is covered in external RAID storage arrays, audio interfaces, high-speed networking gear, and reference monitors. A flimsy set of ports simply will not cut it. The 2026 iMac Pro is rumored to feature a robust array of high-speed ports, including multiple Thunderbolt 5 USB-C ports capable of transferring data at blinding speeds and driving multiple external 60K displays simultaneously. Imagine plugging a single cable into your iMac Pro and instantly daisy-chaining massive external storage arrays, high-speed Ethernet networks, and peripheral breakout boxes while the machine simultaneously pumps power back into your workflow. Apple is also keeping the creative professional in mind by including high-speed peripheral integration, an advanced studio-quality microphone array that makes voiceovers and conference calls sound like you are sitting inside a professional broadcast booth, and a spatial audio 6-speaker sound system that delivers room-filling, accurate acoustic monitoring right out of the box. You literally do not need to buy external studio monitors just to check your audio mix. The built-in acoustics system is tuned for professional editing standards. Now, let's talk about the design aesthetic, because Apple's industrial design team has outdone themselves. The machine is expected to retain the razor-thin profile silhouette at its edges while housing its advanced thermal cooling system smoothly within a slightly contoured rear chassis. It will likely debut in a sophisticated, dark-leaning professional colorway. Think of a refined, deep space gray or a stealthy matte dark aluminum fini. That commands authority in any high-end studio. It comes with a matching color-coordinated Magic Keyboard featuring Touch ID, a Magic Mouse, and a Magic Trackpad, all charged via braided USB-C cables, maintaining the completely cable-free, minimalist desk setup that turns an ordinary workspace into a work of art. There is only one single power cord running from the back of the stand, keeping your desk entirely free of messy power bricks and tangled cable jungles. It is clean, it is purposeful, and it looks like it belongs in the headquarters of a major motion picture studio or a top-tier Silicon Valley design firm. Who is this machine actually built for? If you are a content creator, a filmmaker, a commercial photographer, a software developer, or a digital artist working in the United States or anywhere else globally, this machine targets the exact friction points in your workflow. If you are currently juggling a MacBook Pro plugged into a desktop dock, or if you were looking at buying a Mac Studio but hated the idea of buying a separate monitor and managing desk clutter, the 2026 iMac Pro is the exact answer you have been waiting for. It bridges the gap between raw, uncompromising desktop workstation performance and the elegant simplicity of an all-in-one form factor. It eliminates desk clutter, eliminates component mismatching, and delivers a unified, calibrated, high-performance ecosystem that just works from the second you plug it into the wall. Of course, a machine of this caliber does not come cheap. Industry analysts and supply chain insiders project that the starting price for the 2026 iMac Pro will land somewhere around $3,500, scaling up significantly when you configure maxed out M5 Max variants, massive unified memory pools, and ultra-high capacity SSD storage. For casual web browsers or light email users, this price point is completely absurd. But for professionals who write off their hardware through business revenue, time is literally money. If a machine can cut your daily render times in half, eliminate system crashes during critical client deadlines, and handle local AI generation pipelines instantly, it pays for itself within the first few weeks of deployment. It is an investment tool engineered to generate revenue, not just a consumer gadget.